Hello fam, it's your boy Investor Black and I welcome you back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to pick a good domain name for your affiliate marketing business. So if you're out there and you want to start affiliate marketing and you've already picked your niche, then the next thing you need to do is to pick your domain name, especially if you want to use your blog for affiliate marketing. There are a lot of things you need to consider before picking a domain name so that in the long run you don't end up changing your domain name, and those things are what I'm going to cover in this video. So without wasting your time, let's delve right into it. So firstly, I'm going to go to my Google Jamboard and I'm going to discuss what we have in front of us right now. As you can see, we have brand, niche and style. Okay, when picking a domain name, your domain name should depict your brand, should depict your niche, and it should also depict your style. Okay, your brand has to do with you, your personality, what you stand for, what you are about. Your niche has to do with your audience, the people you're targeting, the people you want to attract, while your style has to do with your method, your approach, and how you intend to solve the problems that are found in this niche that your domain name is going to be about. Now, once you know that your domain name depicts these three things, then you know you have a good domain name. Okay, so in the next slide, you're going to be talking about the things to consider when picking a domain name. Now, when picking a domain name, the most important thing you should consider is your niche. You don't pick a domain name before picking your niche. Rather, you pick your niche before picking your domain name, okay? Because your domain name is based on the niche that you've chosen to create content in. So basically, once you've picked your niche, the next thing you can now do is to pick your domain name. By the way, if you don't know how to pick your niche, then check the video in the description. I'm going to leave a link to the video I made before this video about how to pick your niche the right way, okay? Once you watch that video, then you can now know how to pick a niche and how to use the niche to determine your domain name. Now, a domain name is an online identity that will be attached to your hosting, which people can use to actually search for you online. Okay, now a domain name brings a lot of things. It brings credibility, it brings online presence and all. Okay, now as you can see, these are the things you need to consider when picking a domain name, okay? So that you don't go and pick a domain name that is not ideal for what you're doing, okay? Depending on what you want to do, you want to make sure you consider these things before picking a domain name. Whatever niche your domain name is about, the name should depict that niche. In the sense that if you're making content around affiliate marketing, it doesn't make sense to use a domain name that sounds like a health niche website, okay? That's what I mean. So if you're making content around finance, it doesn't make sense to have a domain name that depicts health. And if you're making content around relationship, it doesn't make sense to have a domain name that depicts finance. So basically, your domain name has to depict your niche or has to depict what your content is about. Okay, the next thing is the price. Okay, now different domain names have different prices, and I'm going to show you in a live representation what I mean by different domain name have different prices. Now I'm going to be using GoDaddy and Namecheap for this representation, and you're going to be seeing the different price range for different domain names. Okay, so I have my GoDaddy right here and I have my Namecheap right here. These are all domain name providers. You can get the same domain name from either of them, but their prices are a little bit different. So you have to also consider the price, okay? So you consider the price domain name wise, domain host wise, and the price name wise, okay? different names attract different prices depending on the buzz around the name. Okay, names like, let's say for example, you want to make a website about email marketing and you start searching for something like emailguru.com. okay, if you search for something like this and you hit enter, you're gonna see that Email Guru is gonna be very expensive. Okay, as you can see right here, emailguru.com is going for $7,000, $8,000 in fact. So it means this is very expensive. So if you want to buy this domain name, then you know that you're paying over $8,000 just for a domain name, which is outrageous. It doesn't even make sense to me for you to pay $8,000 for just your domain name. I'm not talking about your hosting, just your domain name. So the name matters. Okay, this Email Guru depicts email marketing and stuff like that, so that is why it's so expensive. Okay, but if I do a little modification and I say Email Guru Magic and I hit enter, you're gonna see that because of I've made some modifications, the domain name has become cheaper. Why? Because it is longer and it has longer characters. So the length of a domain name affects the price. Okay, so this one is going for $9.58 and subsequently you're going to be paying $14 to renew the domain name, which is relatively fair and very okay. This same domain name that is going for $9 on Namecheap will be going for, let's check how much it will be going for on GoDaddy.com. So I'm going to go to GoDaddy.com and hit search. Okay, then let's see how much emailgurumagic.com is going to be going for on GoDaddy. So I'm going to allow this to actually load. I'm going to pause this video and come back when it has loaded. Okay guys, so I'm back and as you can see right here, it has loaded, and as you can see, emailgurus.com is going for $4,000. emailgurus.com is going for $4,000, which is the same thing as almost that $7,000 that we saw initially. But emailgurumagic.com is going for less than £1 here. It's going for $17. So this one that's going for $17 right here, this one that's going for $17 right here is going for $13 right here. So that's why I said host wise you have to check the price, and name wise you also have to check the price. So once you're able to tell that this domain name is ideal for me, then, or for you, then you can now go ahead to pay for the domain name. And your domain host usually ends up being your hosting provider as well. Okay, so even Bluehost, if you go to Bluehost and you search for the same domain name, you're gonna see their own price, but it's gonna be around the same range, probably $4 different, $3 different. But what you want to notice is that the longer the domain name, the cheaper it gets, and the shorter the domain name, the more expensive it gets. So if I should search email.com, if I search email.com, which will be probably taken by somebody, as you can see, we might be able to help you get it. Okay, so this person will give you this domain name for 5,000 euros. As you can see right here, it's a premium domain name, and you're gonna be paying an extra $51 fee to get this from this broker. Okay, so this person is going to sell this domain to you for this amount plus this amount. So as you can see, the shorter the domain name, the more expensive it gets. So when picking a domain name, don't just come up with a domain name without cross-checking with Namecheap or any domain provider to see if it's available and to see the price range. Okay, that's basically why I have to do this to show you. So apart from the price, the length. Okay, so longer domain names means it will be difficult for whoever is searching for you to actually type your domain name. Okay, and people like short things. Okay, the shorter your domain name, the easy it is for them to remember it and store it in their memory. Instead of bookmarking it or writing it down somewhere, they can actually just remember it and just type it anytime to actually get to you. Like investorblack.com is very short, and as you can see, anybody can type investorblack.com and get to my website at any time. By the way, I post content on my website as well as my YouTube channel. So your domain length also matters. Okay, the price also matters, and we have talked about the price. Availability also matters. like I said, when we did this, you see that this domain is taken, as they said here, this domain is taken, and for you to get this domain, you have to go through extra stress, and that is also something you need to also consider before going with a domain name. You don't want to pick a domain that someone has already picked, because chances are that person wouldn't even agree to sell that domain to you because they got it for their own personal business. Okay, that is why you need to also make sure that the domain you're going for is available. Okay, flexibility. Now, flexibility has to do with the things you want to promote on your website, the things you want to put out on your website. If you want to put out different things that cover different niches, then you need to have a broader domain name, something more generic. But if you want to put something that is niched down, then you need to have a niched down domain name. But at the end of the day, just make sure that your domain name depicts your brand, depicts your niche, and depicts your style. Okay, so that's basically why you need to consider the flexibility of a domain name. There are some domain names that will allow you to change entirely what your website is about, and there are some domain names that will not allow you to do that. There are some domain names that once you use them, you can only post a certain type of content on that domain name. Okay, and that is why you need to consider that. Is this something you want to go with forever? Then it's okay to pick a niche down domain name. But if you want a domain name that will give you room to pivot or to pivot in another direction, then you have to consider having a broader domain name that can actually accommodate different niches. Okay, uniqueness in the sense that you don't want a domain name that is too similar to someone else's domain name. Okay, like for example, if you search for let's say word counter, okay, you search for word counter on Google, you're gonna see that these domain names, wordcounter.net, wordcounter.io, wordcount.com, all these domain names are all copies. They basically do the same thing. This one counts words, this one counts words, this one counts words, this one counts words. Okay, now what makes this one unique from this one is just little differences. Okay, so you want your domain to be as unique as possible so that you can stand out in the competition. Okay, because someone can easily mistake you for someone else if your domain does not stand out. That is why your domain needs to be unique, because you don't want to be mistaken for someone else, and you don't want to lose some of your traffic to a competitor, because someone might have a good service or a good time with your website, but because they can't remember, they end up visiting someone's website and the credit goes to the other person just because the person's domain looks a lot like yours, or because yours looks a lot like the person's domain name. Okay, that's why you need to have a unique domain. And also availability, which is something we've already covered. You need to make sure that your domain name is not taken. Okay, if your domain name is taken, then you need to pick a totally different domain name so that you can actually have your domain name. Apart from that, availability also has to do with other social platforms. Okay, before you go with a domain name, don't just pick a domain name because it's available on Namecheap and you've not checked if it's available on Instagram, if the handle is available on YouTube, if the handle is available on Quora, if the handle is available on other social media platforms. I had a little issue with that with Investor Black. Someone was bearing my name on some social media platform. Okay, and then cases like that, you have to go meet this person and buy that name from that person, and sometimes these people will call amounts that will blow your mind. Okay, so to avoid that kind of scenario, to avoid that kind of issues in future, make sure that you cross-check not only on namecheap.com or godaddy.com, you also cross-check on Facebook to see if the username is available. Cross-check on Instagram, cross-check on Twitter, because you want everything about you to be uniform. You want your name on Facebook, your name on Instagram, your name on Twitter, your name on all social platforms to be one and the same. You don't want to have irregularities. You don't want to have emailgurumagic.com here and you have emailgurusmagic.com because someone has already taken your name. Okay, and someone can easily impersonate you if you're not using a uniform domain on all platforms. Okay, because there is no consistency. So for the purpose of consistency, make sure you can cross-check on all platforms before paying for a domain name. That will save you a lot of future stress. Okay, and that's what we call branding. Once you have a uniform name on all social platforms, you can be seen as a brand. Okay, so if you search for Investor Black on Google, you're gonna see that my name is the same on almost all platforms. So if I should search for Investor Black right now, you see that on my website is Investor Black. On YouTube, I'm Investor Black. On YouTube, on Instagram, as you can see, Investor_Black. That's because someone took Investor Black and there's nothing I can do about it. On Facebook, I'm Investor Black. On Pinterest, I'm Investor Black. On TikTok, I'm Investor Black. On Telegram, I'm Investor Black. On Seller, I'm Investor Black. On Quora, I'm Investor Black as well. So on most platforms, I'm Investor Black. So that's basically what you need to consider when getting your domain name. Make sure that your name is uniform, is consistent along all the platforms that you want to be on. Okay, so that's basically the whole idea. So now that you know that, let's do a quick rundown on how to pick a good domain name following a detailed, arranged step-by-step guide. Okay, so what is the first step? The first step is to find out if the domain name depicts your niche. Okay, once you find out the domain name depicts your niche, the next is to find out if the domain name contains relevant keywords. Okay, keywords that people in your niche would most likely search for. Okay, that will help you to get some kind of organic traffic. Because if you go and pick a totally far-fetched name, what's going to happen is that you need to build a presence before people can start searching for you, because initially nobody knows you. But if you want to get traffic, you want to hit the ground running, then make sure that at least 1 or 2 keywords in your niche is represented inside your domain name. That way, when people search for things relating to your niche, your domain name is going to naturally pop up in the search result just because of it contains those keywords. Okay, so apart from the fact that it's containing relevant keywords, the next thing is that your domain name has to accommodate you. Okay, accommodate you in the sense that if you want to use your domain name for 2 different kind of purposes, make sure that the name depicts those 2 purposes. Whatever your website is about should be depicted by your domain name. Okay, that's basically the accommodation part. And there was a time I had a website. When I started affiliate marketing newly, I wanted to use my domain name as a landing page. I wanted to use it as well as other things. I wanted to use it as a blog. I wanted to use it as a lot of things. Okay, I wanted to be able to promote different kind of products in different niches, in all niches. Okay, so I chose a name that could do that. So I was able to promote health products, wealth products, relationship products on one domain name without having issues. But it was a very, very broad niche, and guess what? I didn't gain authority on any of them. So that's the downside of being a master, a jack of all trade. Okay, you will be a master of none. Okay, so apart from the fact that it should accommodate you, the next thing you need to know is that the length of your domain should not be too long or too short. If it's too short, it's going to be too expensive, and if it is too long, it's going to be hard for people to actually remember you. Okay, so you want your domain name to be a good length. Okay, a minimum length of about 10 characters. Okay, a maximum of 10 characters. Okay, so if you do more than 10 characters, just know that it's going to be a little bit difficult for people to actually remember you, because people don't like long domain names. Okay, you don't want to have a domain name that has 50 characters and expect that someone is going to even writing down 50 characters is very stressful. Okay, so those are the things you need to consider when picking a domain name. Apart from the length, the next thing you need to also know is the availability, which I've already covered. Okay, so make sure that the domain name is available. Okay, apart from that, make sure that it is affordable. Okay, and find out if the domain name is unique. Okay, so once you have all these things in place, then just know that you've picked an ideal domain name. Okay, I hope this video has been helpful. If it has, do well to give me a thumbs up. Also subscribe if you like this kind of videos, and if you want to see more of this. If you don't want to see more of this, don't bother to subscribe. Have a nice day, and I love you guys. Bye.